cold rain drenched my clothes as I stood on the wet concrete holding nothing but a single plastic trash bag. After 2 decades of marriage, Bennett looked at me as if I were an uninvited visitor who had finally worn out her welcome. The soil on the grave of his mother was still fresh, yet he stood in our doorway telling me to pack my things. My name is Nora Vance, and my quiet life fell apart because I chose love over my own security. For years, I taught elementary school students, loving the sound of children laughing and learning. I walked away from that beloved classroom when Clara, the mother of my husband, received a devastating diagnosis of dementia. Bennett promised me that this arrangement would only be temporary. Eventually never came, and I spent 3 long years as a full-time caregiver for Clara. I learned her daily routines, cooked her soft meals, and sang her favorite old songs to bring her comfort. While I spent sleepless nights keeping her safe, Bennett climbed the corporate ladder at his medical sales firm. He wore expensive watches and enjoyed luxurious dinners, leaving me entirely alone. I did not resent the sweet old woman, but the cold silence of my husband began to break my heart. He stayed away on long business trips and forgot to come home for dinner. When he was home, he stopped asking how I was doing, treating me like an unpaid servant. I lay awake at night wondering when we had stopped being partners. 3 weeks before she passed away, a rare moment of complete clarity returned to Clara. She gripped my hand tightly and told me never to let Bennett determine my worth. She said she had watched him treat me like hired help, and she refused to let him ruin my life. Within an hour, her mind drifted away again, leaving me confused. During those final weeks, Bennett became even more distant, hiding his phone and whispering to a colleague named Victoria Lane. When Clara finally passed away on a quiet morning, my husband arrived late and looked merely inconvenienced. He did not shed a single tear for his mother, which made me realize how cold his heart had truly become. We held a small funeral, and Bennett delivered a scripted eulogy that lacked any real emotion. After the guests departed, my phone rang with an unfamiliar number. A professional woman named Teresa Finch introduced herself as the attorney of Clara. She told me she had strict instructions to wait exactly 7 days before sharing a vital secret with me. I kept the phone call a secret and tried to discuss returning to my teaching career with Bennett. He laughed in my face, claiming that the educational world had passed me by. Then, his polite facade crumbled completely as he told me he only kept me around to care for his mother. He demanded that I leave his house immediately. My heart shattered as he tossed a plastic bag in my direction, refusing to let me take an umbrella. I packed a single bag of clothes and walked out into the pouring rain without crying. I checked into a cheap motel down the road, staring at the ceiling in the dark. I felt a strange sense of clarity replace my grief. Back at the house, Bennett poured a glass of alcohol and called Victoria to celebrate his freedom. He told her the property was finally his and they could build a grand future together. He believed he had won, completely unaware of the storm that was about to hit him. His arrogance blinded him to the reality of what his mother had done. As Bennett parked his car in the driveway that night, he noticed 2 black vehicles waiting for him. Teresa Finch stepped out with a leather folder and greeted him with absolute calm. Bennett demanded to know why she was on his property, asserting his ownership of the estate. The attorney simply opened her files and prepared to deliver the truth. She explained that Clara had established a secret living trust 2 years prior, when her mind was fully sound. Under the terms of the trust, the property did not belong to Bennett. It transferred entirely to the person who had served as her primary caregiver. That meant the deed of the house now belonged solely to me. Bennett screamed and threatened to fight the legal documents, but the attorney remained completely unmoved. She handed him an eviction notice, giving him 48 hours to pack his belongings and leave. Clara had spent her final conscious months building a shield to protect me from the cruelty of her own son, ensuring I would never be left homeless. I returned to the property the following morning to find Bennett packing boxes in absolute silence. He glared at me and accused me of plotting against him with his mother. I looked at him with quiet strength and told him that Clara did this alone. For the first time in 20 years, I did not feel the need to apologize. Living in the quiet house alone felt strange at first, but healing slowly began. I contacted Principal Judith at Oak Ridge Elementary, and she welcomed me back to my 3rd grade classroom with open arms. Standing before 26 children again brought a profound sense of joy back into my life. I finally felt like myself again after years of darkness. Through my work, I met a kind widower named Julian Hayes, whose daughter Chloe was in my class. Julian was a gentle man who understood the heavy weight of grief and loneliness. We began to talk during school events, and a quiet friendship bloomed between us. He helped me repair my broken porch light without asking for anything in return. Meanwhile, Bennett moved into a depressing apartment across town, realizing that Victoria had no interest in a man without a grand home. He lost his status, his pride, and the wife who had supported him for 20 years. I learned that true wealth is not found in expensive watches, but in the love we give and receive. Today, I sit on my bright porch with Julian and Chloe, listening to the gentle evening breeze. Clara saved my life by recognizing my value when I could not see it myself. I learned that you must never let another person define your worth. The storm has finally passed, and I am finally home.